All right, good afternoon, Ultimate fans. Welcome back to the 2016 Canadian Ultimate Championships, live from Edmonton, Alberta. We're at the Ivor Dent Sports Park in Edmonton. We have a huge matchup here for you folks. It's Misfit in white versus Mofo in blue. Misfit out of Vancouver, Mofo out of Winnipeg. And this is the 4 versus 5 matchup here in the Junior Open Division. Up here in the booth, we've got myself, Kevin Underhill, and joined by Danny Saunders. Danny, how's it going today?
It's going great, Kevin. Beautiful weather, tons of energy from the kids. I think it's going to be an awesome game here.
Absolutely, and myself, a native out of Vancouver, and Danny out of Winnipeg should be able to provide a lot of great insight on these two programs. Misfit, a blossoming program out of BC, has been around for just about 9 years now, and Mofo, Danny will take us through the history a little bit in a few moments here after maybe the first point. But just a bit about this game, we got for ourselves a big-time matchup. This is Misfit again in the blue in the white versus Mofo in the blue. This is live from the Canadian Ultimate Championships in Edmonton. UltimateCanada.tv for streaming all week long. And the first poll is up right away. Misfit hustling down on the pole. Their coach said they're going to rely on strong man defense the entire game. Mofo using their Team Canada players right away. That's Snyder to Duncan. Duncan, intimidating height on the sideline, swings it to the middle.
Good disc movement all the way across, swinging, looking for options, but the D's tight there.
Duncan with the disc in the middle. A lot of height there from Duncan, but it looks like he might be playing a bit more of a handler role, or a bit more of a hybrid role, you could say. Quick throwaway there, and Misfit has a chance for an early upwind break. Disc here on the sideline. Nice cutting there from number 16, Brian Lee Fan. Lee Fan with the disc. Looks up line. Nice coverage. Foul called there. Jacob Mundo with the disc. Don't think that's going to be contested. It's going to be coming in and stall one. Disc tapped in. Mundo surveys the field. Andrews with a quick move up line. Gets it. Andrews airs it out to the end zone. Lee Fan under it. Can't quite bring it down.
Huge layout bid. Huge offensive bid. Wow.
Attempting to toe the back of the line there is Lee Fan, but good pressure by Mofo, and Mofo gets another chance with the disc to capitalize on their starting O-point here. Danny, we've seen a couple turns already. What do you think if the wind is playing a bit of a factor here?
The wind has definitely picked up a bit, but both teams are playing very aggressively, and they're going for their looks, both offensively, and on D, they're really taking away the margins. Oh, great grab there. It's really nice seeing players like that coming back for that second effort.
Snyder tracking. Oh, and a great grab. That's...
Quinn Snyder?
In any case, that's a great track down by the Mofo player in the end zone. Boxes his check out and climbs the ladder for the goal. Mofo capitalizes on their opening O-point. Discussion from the observer here. Maybe it could be about rushing the field too early. I think that's a classic overexcitement move. Maybe just a warning there from observer Ben. And but in any case, that goal stands.
We saw a number of Mofo's Team Canada players in that first point there with Quinn Snyder and Ethan Duncan, and also Michael Raflob was on Team Canada. It's going to be interesting. It was a really tight turnaround from the tournament for them to come back to Canada to play after Poland, where Canada earned a silver medal, which is great to see. But yeah, it's a really tight timeline with travel and everything, how much they're going to be playing and how much it's going to affect their game.
We just had a offside pull there from Mofo, something that the observers will be watching for all week, and it's a first warning gets given, and then it's a repull, and if they're offside again, the offensive team will get the disc at half. And that's Michael Raflob, Team Canada Juniors player with the pull. Disc center to Chris Chan. Chan surveying. Hits the cutter under. Good disc movement, that's Mondo. Oh, an excellent block there.
It's at number 34, Sean Bennett.
Nice run through, good awareness, gets his hand out. Raw flop to pick up. Airs it out. Going Chris Chan on defense, good position. Nice piece, that's a nice block there by Chris Chan. Established position, didn't relinquish it, went up, strong, made the play. Looks like Mofo is going to be looking to huck the disc early. Isn't that right, Danny?
Definitely. Talking to their coaches earlier, they said that's a big part of their game, and they really want to establish that early, making sure the other team's respecting their deep, trying to open up unders later on.
Chan with the disc. Tight coverage, moves it to the middle. Salisbury. That's Fong with the disc. Undercut. And it looks like that one might have grazed the ground, but there's some discussion here as Jason Lee climbs to his feet. Looks like it's going to go back. Contested down there. Disc will be reset there with Nicholas Fong. Have this handler core of Nicholas Fong, Anthony Salisbury, and Chris Chan for Misfit. Braden G, their coach, has said that they have good chemistry, a good unit to work together. We should be watching for them to command the backfield for Misfit this game. Speaking of which, Chan's cutting to the backfield, opens up some upfield play. Nice grab there by Ryan Kondo. Nice under. Aggressive bid there. It's Nathan Wilson on the defense. Swings to the middle, that's Chan. Chan bends one around. Trying to make use of that break force sideline. Ooh, and Fong just took his eye off it for a second there. Raflab with the disc. Move it to the sideline. Little give go, Raflab has it. Looking upfield, lots of fakes. Sean Bennett cuts up line, gets it back into the backfield, swings it to the far side. Right in the middle, Mofo has a chance for an early break. Naustad with the disc. Could have been a pick there. Instead, Curtis Murray's looking at it. Swings it around. Raflab climbs the ladder and gets the goal. Showing that jet lag might not be coming into play just yet as he commanded that point. Now we talked a little bit about Braden G, the coach for Misfit. He is a longtime player and a longtime coach for this Misfit program, starting his coaching career with Uprise, moving up, coaching Rolling Thunder for a year, and this is his second year with Misfit. Braden G played his first season on the Vancouver Riptide this year in Vancouver. He's a solid all-around player and brings his coaching experience to the squad. He's going to have to fire a squad up here if we want to see a bit more of a game here, as Mofo has cashed in on the first 2 points, including an upwind break. Mofo, a decorated program out of Winnipeg. Danny Saunders, who's joining me in the booth today, will give us a detailed breakdown of their sort of, how they started their program and got things going. But right now it's just one storied program against another. Mofo set to pull again. With the wind, gets it just past the brick mark there, and Chris Chan picks up. Flips it to Nguyen, who airs it out right away. Lee tracking it down, just can't quite find it. Striking from the handler position there, Lee just took off right off the bat, and a pretty nice rip, but just carried with the wind. The wind switched direction a little bit here, and that one just sailed too far. Mofo again with the disc.
Poach there in the lane, trying to cut off the easy middle.
Disc on the far sideline. Good pressure from the Misfit defense. Goes over the top. Oh, and an excellent grab there.
Excellent defense too. Oh, and a run through block.
Gets it right back. Looks like that's Ryan Kondo who flew through for the block, and then Chris Chan picked it up and flipped it back to Kondo for the goal. and Misfit got on the board in an emphatic fashion. 2-1. Mofo leads over Misfit at the Canadian Ultimate Championship. We're in the second round here of juniors play. This is the Junior Open Division. Both these teams looking to take a win out of this game. Joining me in the booth is Danny Saunders. Danny from Winnipeg. Can you give me a little background on this Mofo program?
Sure. Mofo has been around since the late 90s as a program. Before then, the team changed names every couple of years. I had, I guess, the honor of playing on the first Mofo, and that was before we had the Winnipeg Jets old-style logo style. We actually had a kangaroo with the Domo Gasoline Company making a jump, laying out for a disc on the original. But Mofo, yeah, it's been a long program. It played when juniors only had a mixed division, and since then has been growing. And the first Mofo teams really was basically one school, St. John's Ravenscourt, with a couple of players from other teams on it. Talking to the coaches this year, St. John's Ravenscourt isn't even the school with the most players anymore. The Winnipeg program's really grown. There's 7 schools represented this year, with 3 of those schools going to the high school national championships this year and placing 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So it's definitely grown the juniors program in Manitoba with both the competitiveness and the number of schools involved.
That's a great breakdown, and it's cool to hear that you played on the very first Mofo team. We'll talk a bit more about the Misfit program in just a moment. Kind of a cool connection there as Ethan Duncan striking deep, and that disc going to float up there. He settles underneath it, him and Snyder, and Duncan reels it in, no problem, showing his height, getting under that disc and reaching up and grabbing it.
I think that's the first time Mofo's shown a vertical stack off of their set play for the start. There's a good fake there at the beginning of the play to pull the defenders out and really open up that middle.
Absolutely, and Duncan, another one of Team Canada's junior players who just returned from Poland, took off deep, had to fight through a pretty physical check there in the lanes, but fought through it, climbed up, made the grab. And he's going to be a force for Mofo all week long, I'm sure of it. He's a big player. He demands a lot of respect deep. And if they're going to have players throwing it to him deep, he's going to win more often than not in the air matchup.
I think that huck was a good example of knowing your receiver, too, knowing you have the height and putting enough float with that tailwind. We saw in the earlier point, the huck went out. It was a little too hot to handle with the wind at the back. But knowing you have a tall receiver like Duncan there, you can afford to float that and trust in him to come down with it.
Michael Rafflob set to pull. Misfit's offensive unit set to receive. We've seen a little shift in the wind earlier today in our Era versus Mischief epic matchup to start the tournament. The wind was coming from the left-hand side of your screen to your right, and it's done a full 180 right now as we're kind of facing right to left now on your screen. Chris Chang walks it to the brick mark, and he'll start downwind for this Misfit squad.
Misfit again is in a horizontal set with their 4 cutters downfield. Going to set their initiation.
Chang with the disc on the clothesline. He airs it out right away. Fong's tracking it down. It's hanging, but just goes a little too far, and that's just showing when that wind switches and the disc gets up there, it'll just absolutely sail. We've seen it about 3 times now, once at least from each team, where the disc just carries a bit too far. If you're going to be hucking downwind, Danny, you have to put a little bit more height on it or just touch a little softer and get it to hang. Rafflob picks up, hits the initiating cutter in the middle. Gillingham. Oh, big bid there. That's number 17, Ryan McDonald, with the bid. Couldn't quite connect. Marcus Kwan with the disc on the far sideline. Wants the middle. Goes up line. Oh, an excellent catch there. That's a layout grab by Anthony Salisbury. Salisbury through the middle. Errant throw. Not connected. The wind definitely picking up for the second round. As we talked about, we're at an unbelievable sports park, but one thing that comes along with that is it is just wide open. There is nothing stopping from a big gust of wind coming right through. Teams are going to have to work on that, calibrate their throws early, and we just see another miscue. I don't know if that's wind or if that's just taking your eye off the disc, but in any case, Misfit is on the doorstep with a chance to get this game back within 1. Chan slowly, calmly walks to the disc, hollering out orders to his squad. Picks the disc up. Wants an isolation. Goes to the break side and finds his target. No problem. That's number 88, Ryan Kondo with the goal. And Misfit brings it back within 1. Mofo leads 3-2. Not quite as clean of a point as we saw from Mofo. But in any way, that's a goal, and I know because I play, a goal's a goal, and they'll take it. Talk about this Misfit squad a little bit. I believe it began in '07, and if Danny has a cool little story that he was on the first ever Mofo team, well, yours truly was on the very first Misfit team, so it makes us a little two peas in a pod up here in the booth. It wasn't quite as established as it was. I know Danny had a chance to talk to Ted Chu, one of the leaders of the Misfit program. Can you tell us a little bit about the program?
Sure. Ted and Mimi Penn have really been involved with the program since its inception, and looking for a place for more youth in the Vancouver area to be able to get involved in the sport. And it's really grown every year since then, in terms of originally starting with a club and then growing to now having 11 teams who are playing at the club junior level, as well as T-Club for kids who want to drop in and play some extra Ultimate and continue to develop over the summer. So it's a really testament to a lot of those volunteers, and talking to them, they're saying they couldn't count how many of the coaches are ex-players from the program who are wanting to give back to the program or wanting to stay involved in junior Ultimate. And it's really great to see that growth.
Absolutely, and I can say as an alumni from the Misfit program that, may have been the beginning, but it was certainly the beginning of something special. And Mofo's got the disc now, right in the middle, Xander Jung with the disc. Absolutely boosts one up. That's Snyder tracking it down, and that is a dime. What
Wow.
a throw by Xander Jung. Unbelievable, finds his target in the end zone, and that's a one-pass goal, and it's 4-2 for Mofo. And they look crisp, absolutely.
Again, in that vertical set to start off their O, that just looked really, really crisp, as he said, really easy in terms of that cut. Quite open, and that throw, I don't think you can put it any better than that.
That's sad. We've seen Misfit throw a few that sailed out the back, but Xander Jung has obviously calibrated that forehand because he delivered a dime. Score reads 4-2 for Mofo. This is second round coverage of the Canadian Ultimate Championships live from Edmonton, Alberta. We're at the Ivor Dent Sports Park here. And what a facility we have. Danny, maybe you could talk a little bit about the bid process and how Edmonton wound up hosting. And this is truly a world-class venue.
Sure, Edmonton put in their bid for the Canadian Ultimate Championships over a year before the event, and the Ultimate Canada Board of Directors and staff review the bids that come in. And when we saw the Edmonton bid, they had so many great things going for them, but the key was this facility. They have great volunteers, they had great support in the community, but there's 18 soccer fields plus practice fields here that we were having available for it. So we're very excited for this venue and very excited to be coming back to Edmonton.
Absolutely, and so far so good. The event is going well. Just looking around, there's games happening on every field. It's truly unbelievable to watch, and this showcase field is in great condition as these two teams duke it out in this matchup. Let's get back to the action. Misfit's got the disc. Looking a little more crisp this O point, hitting under after under. That's Quan with the disc. Looking upfield, and a huge layout effort there, and great defensive pressure by Thomas Wright on the far sideline.
Great defense. I like the underlooks that we had that point from Misfit. It seemed as though their deeps weren't quite hitting, so looking for something different, that point was good. There's flow at the start.
Mofo moving the disc up the far sideline. Now Sad with the disc to the middle. All the way around to the far sideline. Ham looking upfield. Little cutter motion, has to go into the backfield. Gets looked off, has to swing it all the way around. That's Wilson with the disc now. Wilson looking upfield. Excellent timed cut. That's Now Sad again on this side. Now Sad surveying. Hits the middle. That's Bennett. Bennett swings it outside. All the way to the end. Pick called in the field. Won't make a difference. This is a nice total line. Jared Ham. But he's called out and the pick won't stand, and that's going to be a turnover, and Misfit gets a second chance here. Chris Chan walks towards the disc. Talking to the coaches of Misfit before the game, they said that Chris Chan will be a do-all guy for this team. He's going to be picking it up off dead discs. He's going to be the one shooting for the goal. Let's see what he can do. They're going to have to go 70 yards here if they want to score this one.
Mofo backing all their players there, wanting to protect against that deep. leaving it pretty open there for Misfit to go in for the first throw. Oh, a drop there by Chang, number 23.
Really attacking the up line there. A couple nice throws. That one just a bit too far, and Chang, extended the arm, couldn't quite reel it in.
Again, Misfit here is playing some backing defense with a poach there in the middle for a little.
Ham hits the middle. That's Nausad. Nausad bends one out, and that is an excellent throw. Climbs the ladder. That's a goal. Isaac Hildebrand reaches up and pulls it in, and that's another break for Mofo as they quickly establish a 2-break lead.
Great aggressive take on that disc in the air there by Hildebrand.
One thing you notice here with the Misfit and Mofo matchup is definitely a size mismatch. The Mofo players quite a bit bigger on average than their Misfit counterparts. Sometimes the trade-off is speed, but nonetheless, these Mofo players have come to play. They're playing some crisp version of Ultimate. That's absolutely true. Misfit walking back to the line. Looks like they've switched up the lines a little bit. Putting out a bit more size, as we see there with Leith and Struther strolling out to the line for might be his first point of the game. He's a big body. Maybe they've made the adjustment. They know that they're playing against a bigger squad, and they're going to put out a bit more of their height.
I think they heard you, Kevin.
John Carpenter also out there, big body. Be looking for Struther and Carpenter to do some damage out there and use their height. Chris Chan right there in the middle. He's their go-to handler. Let's see if he can deliver something at this point.
It'll be interesting to see if they make any other adjustments. They're going upwind here, which they've had trouble with all game. Their 2 points were quick transition points, generally close to the end zone where they converted the turns. So see if they try something different on offense to try and move this upwind.
Huge flick, downwind pull. That's going to drift out of bounds. Looks like they might have been offside anyway, but Rafla with a monster forehand flick. Pull, and yeah, it does look like offside. So Misfit's going to get the disc at half.
That's a costly mistake, especially when you have the wind at your back. Because now they get to move it all the way up to the middle of the field here on your second offside.
Carpenter has the disc in the middle, right at half field. You hear the observer there. There's Ben and Mark are our 2 observers today. You can hear him shouting commands, making sure everyone knows how long they have to set up. Carpenter with the disc in the middle of the field. Disc will be tapped in momentarily. Let's see if Misfit can stop the bleeding a little bit. Swings it. Mundo with the disc. Back to the middle. Andrews.
Oh, up to the break side.
Well taken, and Mark Moran calls him in, and that's a goal.
Toes the line in. That was great catch there.
See if we can get the jersey number there for you in a second, but nonetheless, a beautiful play on the far sideline. Active calls by the observers, rules him in, and Misfit gets back on the board and stops a little bit of the bleeding. One thing I have to say so far about this game, both teams are playing pretty solid, but Misfit is certainly having to work harder for their points. We've seen Mofo get a 1-pass goal, a 3-pass goal. They've been clinical on offense, but Misfit, they've had to work it up a turn here and there, right? And as a result, you can see some more fatigue, coming in at the end of the game. Anyway, they've stopped the bleeding, and now Mofo leads 5-3.
Well, that's a huge upwind point, and it's interesting to see that point. They went to the break side there and were able to get across break and then get the continue for the score. So I wonder if that's a change that they're going to be looking at, maybe trying to attack the break a little more, using their speed and quickness against this Mofo team.
Absolutely. I think that's definitely something to watch for, these break force throwers. We know that the British Columbia systems have always been put a lot of emphasis on fundamentals and throwing, so you do see a lot of skilled throwers coming out of this Misfit program, and if they can use the break side, they can find a lot of success. Looks like John Carpenter has the pull. Nice downwind pull, that's going to land in the end zone. Flip it to Jung. Jung in the middle gains a little extra yards on the flip. That's nice.
Zone here, coming down with a cup. Looks like a traditional 3-3-1. I like this call. Change it up a little.
Boris with the disc to Duncan. Duncan, a little bit of pressure, goes high over Discs in the middle. Jordan Steele to Young. Boris. Good disc movement up the far sideline. Couple give goes. Duncan's got it in the middle.
Transitioning to person D here now by Misfit.
Middle, that's Boris. Abdullah. With the flip. Big layout bid, not there. Abdullah goes up line. Oh, and can't handle it up the line. Misfit generate their first turn on this Mofo offensive unit.
That was a low throw right in the shoelaces there. It's a tough one to get when you're running up for that goal line there. Oh, big huck.
Nice completion. That's Paris with the disc. Number 26 on Misfit. Joined by Kabatehe to the middle. Paris again. Swings it outside. That's Carpenter. Carpenter goes straight upfield, and a nice run-through block there by number 19. That's Jordan Steele. Really, really good play. And Duncan goes straight away and hucks it. Goes to Snyder. Snyder tracking down. Is it going to stay up? No, it will not. He can't. And there, that might be a little heavy legs coming back from the plane.
Definitely looked like he was running out of gas partway down in terms of ability to close. It's interesting the turnover there. The zone, they didn't get the turn there, but they took away the pull play from Mofo. They made them work it. And as often as the case after the transition, the team's not quite set, and they got a turn on a quick throw. Oh, hucking again.
That's going to be a theme, I think, is that downwind field position becomes oh so important when there's a little bit of wind involved. As Carpenter just airs that one out, and I think if it's not completed, they're hoping that they can just get it back. Abdullah with the disc on the close sideline. Looking upfield, flips it to the middle. Ashley with the disc. Nice break for a shot to Abdullah. Abdullah has it, and he airs it out, and that's going to be Duncan. Little one-on-one, using the height. Oh, and it goes over top. A little bit of a misread there by the taller receiver. Definitely credit Paris for getting inside and making him to going up early. Misfit walks up to the line, and this is our first time we've seen Mofo struggle on offense. Ooh, and a high release effort there, and just not connected. Chang slowly walks away from the disc and
Is that a high release flick?
I think so, yeah.
Lefty back, and I couldn't tell. Came off really quick.
Chang with the disc, good coverage in the barrel position, nice swing.
Oh.
Ashley goes inside, a beautiful throw, and finishes to number 88, Jarrett Ham. And it took a few tries this time, but Mofo capitalizes again on their offensive possession. They now lead 6-3.
It's interesting, after the Misfits used the break side well to score their point, Mofo, after fighting a few times to get it upfield, does the same thing and uses a couple of quick breaks there to get across.
And you can see the success there that they found on the break side. Both teams working the break side pretty well in the last 2 points. And that's something we'll see, if you are able to capitalize on the break side, the defense becomes that much more tricky. And if you're using the break side a lot, then all of a sudden you lose the respect in the open side and should be able to attack that side as well. Nguyen, Lee, Salisbury, Chan, these are highlighting the offensive unit there for Misfit, ready to receive. The pulling squad, Mofo, sending out their unit, looking to get a break. This is a bit smaller of a crew. With a 6-3 victory, or with a 6-3 lead, Mofo is heading downwind. Let's see what they can do about it.
See if they stay onside this time.
Another big flick pull, must be a Winnipeg thing. Salisbury tracks it down, flips it to Chan in the middle.
I think they all learned from Mark Lloyd.
There's worse people to learn from, that's for sure. Lee with the disc on the far side. Flips it to Salisbury. Salisbury. Inside shot. Nice movement upfield by Misfit. This is good cutting. Another shot inside. And they go all the way at a huge
two-handed slam.
Way out block. That's number 29, Nathan Gooey. What a beautiful play. Good coverage there in the field, but nice stab, and they're going to air it out. That's going to hang. Chris Chan's tracking. Oh, no. Really nice defensive play. Christopher Chan elevates early, gets his hand on the underside of the disc, and scoops it back. Really well done by Chris Chan. That's a nice saving block. And Misfit passes it right back Maybe just a little bit of lack of concentration there from Kondo as he swings it to Chan, just hits the dirt instead. And now Mofo facing a short field for another break. Attacks the upline. Wants to swing it across. Not much movement. Degree, and that's blocked.
There wasn't much space there. There's a defender poaching off as well as the one coming in.
And there you saw the handler go up line and sort of abandon.
Oh, quick huck. Oh, wow. That just hung there. That was a great huck.
Now Kondo one-on-one in the goal. That's Jason Lee with the disc. Back to Fong. Upline cut. Chris Chan capitalizes. Could be all from some momentum from his nice block in the other sideline, in the other end zone, but here he is capitalizing for a goal. Misfit now trails Mofo from Winnipeg 6-4.
That is a big answer by the O-line there for Misfit going upwind to respond to Mofo's O-line scoring upwind as well. Give their defense a chance now to try and catch up a little further as they pull it downwind.
Again, we're here at the Canadian Ultimate Championships 2016 at the Ivor-Dent Sports Park in Edmonton, Alberta. A beautiful facility here set up by amazing tournament organizing staff. Of course, volunteers, food trucks, beer garden, and of course our sponsors that are helping us out here. VC, Discraft, the Delta South Hotel, Standard Scaffold, which is huge. I could mention them all day because we're sitting on their product, helping up here, getting a great view of the showcase field. And of course, the Big Rock Brewery, who will be starting a beer garden as soon as the adult tournament begins on Thursday. So just an overall world-class event here at a world-class venue. Right now we have a amazing matchup here. It's 6-4. Mofo leads Misfit. And Misfit pulling the disc. Let's see if they can get that coveted upwind break. Edgy pull coming in. That's going to be a tricky one to catch. They're going to let it bounce. Young with the disc in the middle. They run a clear and slash. Not responded. Nice bid, but it's going to hold. Duncan with the disc on the sideline. Duncan goes under. Nice play. That's Snyder with the disc. Looks upfield, doesn't like it. Back to Jung. Jung to Snyder. Snyder doesn't like it. Wants to go back to Duncan. Duncan faking and throws a bendy inside-out shot to Jung. Can he track it down? That is an unbelievable throw. Look at that vision from Ethan Duncan bending in an inside-out forehand to the corner. And Xander Jung, who's been mostly in the backfield, escaped upfield and grabbed the disc.
I think that's a little reverse there with Duncan back handling a little and putting it out there to Jung.
And that can make these players pretty dangerous. As we've just seen, Xander Jung going deep, Ethan Duncan with the throw. That might be a little flipped roles, but if they can do it both, they're going to be difficult to cover.
I know earlier I was talking about the Misfit program and how they have a lot of alumni coaching and who are coming back. Same thing with the Mofo program here. You have Willem Conrad and Sean Storm both coaching who used to play for the team when they were younger. And you also have Ty Chachinov, who I'm sure if he started before the age of 25 would have also played for them. But these are players who have played at the highest levels in Manitoba, and it's great to see that giving back to the community and staying involved.
Absolutely. I mean, it all starts with the coaches. We have, junior development programs in this country, leans on their coaching abilities, and it's nice to see these players who grew up playing in these junior systems giving back to their community that gave a lot to them. Many players have gone on to play at the elite level, the club level, and even international level from these programs. Rafflob with a big pull, is trying that flick pull out again. And that one's going to drift out of bounds. That's two he's thrown out of bounds already. He's going to have to dial that in.
Especially with the wind, you don't want to give a free brick up here. You want to make them have to work the full field. And if you're going to, air a little and make it a little more in the middle, that's a big difference than giving them a free 20 yards.
Rafflob guarding Kondo. That's going to be a big matchup to keep our eyes on. Big cutter, big defender. Chris Chan with the disc. Goes straight away, hucks it deep. Misfits tracking. It's going to drift close to the sideline. Out of bounds. Nice attack there by number 23, Nicholas Chang, but just OB. And now Mofo has another chance to break. It's already 7-4. This could be a sort of a do-or-die moment here for Misfit. What do you think, Danny?
Definitely. 8-4 at half or 7-5. It's a totally different game. They really got to clamp down here.
Raflab has the disc in the middle, back in his own end zone. A lot of pressure from Misfit. Abdullah trying to get open, can't. Swings it, and a quick drop there, and Misfit has a short field. That's excellent pressure in the dump position.
They know how important this point is. They're really giving their all to make sure that there's not a lot of margin for those receivers.
Chris Chan, the do-all for Misfit here in this first half, approaches the disc. Throws a hammer to the far side, and it's just a little bit edgy. He's going to want to take that one back.
Now that's a tough throw into the wind, especially it's going to start pushing it down, or if you catch the wrong edge, it'll just float the wrong way for you.
Abdullah picks up the disc on the far sideline. Nice cutting there, number 23. That's Nathan Wilson. Wilson's been turning his legs in the lanes all game long. Raflab decides not to uncork that flick of his. Instead, he takes the freebie to Will Koltek. Koltek to the middle to Abdullah. Good patience here. Abdullah looks upfield, back to Koltek. Uncovered, Koltek hits Wilson. Wilson with a nice trailing edge grab behind him. Looks upfield, right on the goal line, bends one around, into the end zone, and a huge stab there by Stephen Crew, and that is enormous to take half. Absolutely punishing half by Mofo, taking the half 8-4 over Misfit. What do you think Misfit's going to have to talk about in the halftime break to make a difference in the second half, Danny?
I think they've definitely had their chances on O. They've had a lot of deep throws that just haven't connected. And I think for them, they're going to have to figure out a way to keep possession, especially when they are going with the wind, and try and finish in a good spot.
Absolutely, and that's something we've seen. A difference that I've seen is that on the Mofo team, they've had a few guys make big plays. Stephen Crew with a huge stab there. Snyder already attacking the disc. Hildebrand made a great stab in the back of the end zone. Jung with a throw and then a strike. This is a team that, when all their stars are firing, they're going to be very tough to beat. And right now, they've made some big-time plays. And on the Misfit side, we haven't seen the same big-time plays.
I think for Misfit, they've had good team defense at times. Like, they've forced a number of turns, and they've been there in terms of the pressure for the throws. It's just that conversion after. They've had a couple of quick transition goals that looked great. I don't know if that's maybe where they excel the best is on transition, but that might be something for the coaches to look at. They've also had that success going on the break side, so maybe those are some adjustments they'll look at half.
Absolutely, and if you're Mofo here, you're the coaches, you're saying, good job, keep it up, but we have a second half, and we know we've seen some success from Misfit, and if they can deliver that in the second half more frequently, then this could all of a sudden become a game. So they're saying keep the foot on the gas pedal. They're not going to take any time off here. They don't want to give any freebies to Misfit for sure, especially with an unpredictable wind. The score reads 8-4 for Mofo at the Canadian Ultimate Championships in this second round matchup over Misfit. This is halftime. We're going to take a small break here, and we'll be back with the action in just a second. All right, we're back here for second half action at the Canadian Ultimate Championships. This is Misfit versus Mofo. Mofo leads 8-4. This is the first point of the second half.
Well, Misfit's gone into a bit of a vertical stack there at the start. Looks like they were switching things up a bit. They're now back into horizontal. Oh, a miscue there.
Just a miscommunication there with the bail. As Chris Chan was heading back, decided to attack the line, and then the throw just came up. Abdullah picks up the disc. He's been a rock on their defensive handling core. Looks upfield, hits a little one to the front. Offside bid there, but nice focus there by number 66, Curtis Murray. Murray flips it in the middle. Nice around, and a flip.
Oh, what a grab. Wow. Curtis Murray there with a huge layout grab.
Mofo takes the lead 9-4. That is a commanding lead and a really nice point right out of half, capitalizing on a miscue from the Misfit O-line. Misfit, if I had to read their body language right now, a lot of sort of sad faces, a little bit low body language. Instead, Mofo up, hugging, high-fiving. They're excited. If Mofo wants to get back in this game, they're going to have to make an adjustment, a little bit of an attitude adjustment here. Score reads 9-4 for Mofo. Now, Danny, we had a pretty even first sort of 7-8 points there, and then Mofo accelerated into the half with a 3-point run. Can you tell us a little bit about how Mofo was able to take control of that first half and move forward?
I think at the end of that first half, they really took advantage of their opportunities, and their big players are making big plays for them. Like even after the half, seeing that huge layout grab, coming up with those momentum shifting plays, they really carry over to the rest of your team and into how you play. And they were making the most of their chances, and while Misfit wasn't able to quite get into the rhythm at the end.
Absolutely, and that's sometimes all it takes. Ultimate is a game of streaks after all. And Mofo had a really nice streak that seems to be extending into the second half. Carpenter collects the disc and flips to Chan. Chan in the middle. Easy flip to this side. Guin with the disc. Back to Chan. Chan hits his upfield target. Mundo with the disc. Mundo goes under. Kondo. Kondo with the disc. Easy flip. Using the open side well here. They're going to want to reset this and then get this across to the break side. Instead, they're just looking upfield. Shoots it inside. Nice hands there. It's number 24, Stephen Nguyen. Nguyen with the disc. Hollering for a cut. Flips it to the middle. Excellent grab there. That's Will Andrews. Looks like it could be a contested stall, perhaps.
Misfits really... They moved it a bit from the middle. Contested stall, you're right there. They're moving it from the middle at the start, but now it seems like they're really trying to punch it up the line and aren't looking to swing it across or get it back to the middle.
Right, there seems to be some discussion, but it appears it will be a contested stall. That's Nguyen with the disc, and Andrews set up in the bail position. He's going to have to act quick here, make a quick decision. Oh, and he goes over the top of the hammer. Carpenter. Oh, well taken. And that might be just the boost they need as Misfit. John Carpenter, number 15, gets up and makes the stab with two hands well in.
Like I mentioned earlier, those big plays, those momentum plays, that's one of them for their team, coming up with a big grab off of a hammer like that. Misfit really needs to get some energy off of that play and carry that forward onto their D.
Misfit here, set to pull. Carpenter with a huge grab. Let's see if that turns into some momentum for Misfit. He gets called back on. Well deserved, too.
Kevin, you know some of the coaches here for the Misfit program. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah, absolutely. We talked a little bit about Braden G. already, an elite player in his own right, and definitely a coach that's been with Misfit for a few years now. The other coaches, Alex Chan and Kevin Chu. Players as well. Kevin Chu plays for the University of British Columbia, and he's been active in the community. He's coaching. Another, as we talked a little bit about already earlier, is that the coaches, bringing their experience from the open division, the college division, from their experience playing juniors, that can make a big difference for some of these players as they're growing up. They're 15, 16 through 18 years old, and they're looking up to these players who have played at the highest level, and they can definitely provide a lot of experience. And let's see if Misfit can turn that first point out of half into a little bit of a run here. Nice bladey pull and a zone look.
So again, looks like a 3-3-1 here from Misfit.
Lee on the mark with Faye and Busser in the wall.
Nice break there by Chang again, right through the cup.
Lee around. Faye and Busser doing their best to take it away. Chang trying to get open, flips it over the top to Duncan using his height. Discussion on the field. Looks like it might be a stall down again. That one, if it is, that was a pretty fast count in my opinion.
Oh, there may also be an injury there on the field.
And that might be what's the stoppage.
Looks like Keenan Ashley there.
And he'll be replaced by Michael Rafflop. It's going to reset there. Number 34, Sean Bennett, has the disc. Flips it to Chang. Chang big fakes. Goes through to Rafflop.
Beautiful
Rafflop
air
goes
bounce.
over the top.
Oh.
It sails. Carpenter can't get it, and Snyder brings it down.
Nice sky grab there by Snyder.
Rafflop bends it around. Oh, he coiled the springs but didn't unload, and Jarrett Ham cashes in for his second goal of the game. And they had a nice little sequence there. Snyder with the stab, flips it to Rafflop. Rafflop right up the line, and the defender was ready to bid but just didn't make it happen. Just a bit out of his reach, and Ham cashes in for the goal for Mofo. And they take the lead 10-5. The zone look by Misfit, they had some pretty good pressure and made some tough throws, but as soon as they broke it over the top there, it was all but done.
Yeah, it was a risky throw there in terms of the one there that Snyder went up to catch. And again, it's trust in your players, showing those players are making those plays, making those big plays, and when that happens, your team's going to roll.
Absolutely, and you saw Carpenter, last point's hero, sprinting in there, maybe a little bit of indecision, and decided eventually that he had a shot, and he went for it. Snyder pulled it out from in front of his face, flipped it for the goal. And sometimes that happens. If Carpenter goes after that right away, he's got a shot at getting the block. But as soon as you have some indecision, it might be better just to find the next threat. Looks like Mofo's set to pull here. Has on their regular D-line studs. Abdullah.
So Quinn Snyder is part of an Ultimate playing family in the second generation of Ultimate players. His older siblings also played at a very high level, and I had the honor of playing League with his parents back in the day. Oh, another offside.
This one looks like it's being assessed to Misfit, and that's their first warning. Both teams may be a little undisciplined on the pulls. And we've talked a little bit already, especially with the win. I mean, the win's died down considerably now, but we've talked about pulls. And Danny, how important is it to get the pull in? Because we've seen Mofo, I mean, without that offside call, that's another out-of-bounds pull. And we've talked a little bit about the pulls, and they've had 3, maybe 4 out-of-bound pulls. How important is getting that first pull in?
It's really important to get that pull in because otherwise you're letting the other team get free yards, especially at the junior level, getting those free yards in the middle of the field. They can set up however they want there, and you don't have the pressure. When you have a pull like this one here, that's great. You're getting pressure before the brick mark. People are in place defensively. It makes it tougher.
Absolutely. Nice little lefty there by Chan, hitting his target, and his target airs it out. Salisbury can't track it down. Just a little bit too much edge on that throw from Nick Chang. Jogging back to pick up the disc is number 66, Curtis Murray. Looks like he'll defer to Abdullah. Abdullah, who's been an absolute rock for this D-line handling core, gets upfield right away. Nice cutting there by number 9. That's Isaac Hildebrand. Oh, and he's absolutely stuffed on the around.
Huge block.
And they go straight to the end zone. Oh, and he's a double happiness for Ryan Kondo. First with the foot block and then with the goal. Beautiful play. And maybe that's another momentum play. I mean, I don't think we saw Carpenter's stab, Kondo with the goal. We haven't seen that necessarily from Misfit in the first half, but they brought it here in the second half, and they're going to try to get this game closer.
That's a huge confidence booster right there. Getting the point block followed up by a quick score. Again, showing Misfit's transition game. They've got a great transition game, moving the disc quickly off of a turn.
looks like there's a timeout. And
Yep.
yeah, and it's going to be Misfit calling a timeout. Maybe just to settle down and really make an effort for this break here, because 11-6 and 10-7, there's a considerable difference there when the game's only to 15. Coaching staff, having a little meeting over there, and the players getting into it there. They know that if they want to make this game close, if they want to have a shot at winning, they have to start going now. This isn't a time that they can just trade for the rest of the game. They need to go on a little bit of a break run, and they've had some momentum-building plays. Let's see if they can string together 3 or 4.
Yeah, the teams have been trading since half, and that's huge for Misfit that it's trading. They need to, as you're saying, get to that next level now and start going on a mini run here. Take a couple in a row, and the coaches might be resting their top players here to try and get them back out and get that next big point.
Absolutely, and Mofo throws out their standard offensive unit with Ethan dunking. There was some discussion of whether or not their Team Canada guys who just got back from Poland, maybe a little jet lagged, definitely tired, maybe still banged up from that 7 or 6 day tournament in Poland. There was some discussion if they were going to play or not, but I mean the question's already been answered, as you've seen Ethan Duncan. There's Quinn Snyder out there. Raflab playing big minutes on the defensive line. I think they're just going to roll from one tournament onto the next. And sometimes, if your body's healthy and you can take it, that might just be the thing to do.
I'm definitely way too old for that.
Takes a young body to be able to do back-to-back tournaments. Misfit set to pull. Big defensive possession here. Floaty pull. Drifts and bounds. That's a lovely pull. Into the wind. Gets there for that first pass. Shuts it down. Quan, nice defensive pressure. Lee Fan on the mark. Swings it to Jung, and Quan made the play. There it is, and that's the one we're talking about. And he goes straight to the end zone, and that is a break. Misfit gets it right back in their first break of the game, I believe, and that's the play there. Quan hustles down on the pull, gets the block, and the double happiness to boot. That is well done. Just like Danny Saunders was saying right before that, the pull is ever so important, and that one hung just enough to give Quan a chance to get down there and get the block.
You see again, Misfit's transition game. Get a quick D, right away attack. They hit it quickly, and they get a goal.
And that's something that they've excelled at even in the first half when things weren't on point. Their transition game was very solid. And now when everything else is falling into place, their transition game stays strong, and they can do some serious damage. And before you know it, it's 10-7. And that sort of comfortable cushion that Mofo had is starting to fade away. Looks like they might stack this one up. They've got Raflab on there, Snyder, a couple of their Team Canada stalwarts.
That play was really set up by the pull and the team getting down quick because they took away the first pass. They wanted to center it. They couldn't center it, and they weren't able to get it to the first cutter. And by that time, there wasn't much time left in the stall count. There's a lot of pressure, and it really led to the D there.
It's going to be another big point here for Misfit. Have a potential here for a little 3-point run. Another big pull. This one's got a little edge under it. Is it going to stay in? Yes, and it's another nice pull. They get down right on Jung for the first one. There's Quan, the Quan-Jung matchup we saw earlier. Disc on the sideline. Boosted there by Sean Bennett. Airs it out. Number 12, Scott McDonald, tracking and makes the grab. And if there's a way to snuff out some momentum, that's it. A 2-pass goal. Bennett boosts it 65 yards to McDonald for the goal. And Misfit, maybe a blown coverage there. Nice to get a couple in a row, but would have liked to force Mofo into a bit more trouble there.
I'm not sure if they switched something or if it was a blown coverage because Misfit's been backing a lot of the Mofo receivers earlier in the game, and he had quite a few steps there going deep.
Yeah, and I think perhaps they've been over-focusing on Xander Chung and Raflab and Snyder and putting a little bit too much attention on that, and that's someone who we haven't talked about really that much this game, Scott McDonald, just attacking the deep zone, and Bennett boosting it deep to him. Score is 11-7 for Mofo in this matchup here this afternoon rather. We have in the Canadian Ultimate Championships 2016, this is the Junior Open Division, Mofo in blue leads Misfit in white 11-7, and with the 4 or 5 seeds, this is a big time matchup. Duncan with the pull. It's going to hang. That is an absolutely monster pull. It looks like it might just float right out the back, and that's another out-of-bounds pull. Danny, we already had a chance to talk about that, but if there's something, this has been a quite a solid performance from Mofo overall, but if there's something the coaches could get on their players' case, it's those out-of-bounds pulls. I know when I'm coaching and when I'm playing, those out-of-bounds pulls are absolutely deadly.
Yeah, it's tough there. It looked like the pull, they're going for as much as they could in terms of the yards, and sometimes you got to make that choice of making sure it stays in versus getting that extra 5-10 yards.
Chang swings it to the sideline.
Hanging.
Well taken there. Jacob Mundo on the far sideline. Mundo. Upline. Good cutting. Hangs one up. Jaden Hughes under it. Oh, a really nice defensive play.
Ryan McDonald there. Came from the help side, weak side defender. Came to help as soon as the disc went up. That's good fundamentals. As soon as the disc is up, everyone going deep to try and help out.
Got up early, attacked it, scooped the bottom of the disc. That's a really nice defensive play. Duncan to the middle. Nice, good touch throw there. Number 22, Andrew Gillingham has it. Goes back to the middle. Now sad. Oh, and great defensive pressure. It Max up, but Ashley drags it in. Throws a bender, and number 17, Ryan McDonald, gets the double happiness. They're going to thank their lucky stars there. That's Nathan Wilson, actually, who caught the deflected disc and fired it all the way down. And McDonald with the double happiness. Maybe they got away with one there, Danny, but they'll take it anyway it comes.
Definitely. That was a lucky that they had the second chance on it, but you got to reward the players who are still hungry and going after that second chance, and you love to see that as a coach. When your players are alert and they don't give up after they see a disc deflected, they go for it.
Score now reads 12-7 in favor of Mofo. I think the score is definitely reflective of the play today, Danny. We've watched two solid programs duke it out here. But Mofo has definitely been the better team, and they're leading right now as a result. They've capitalized on more outshots. They've brought defensive pressure when it really counts, whereas Misfit's just been off the mark a few times on their deep hucks. They've shown definitely flashes of brilliance. They've shown some really strong handling, and they've showed great defensive pressure in a few points. But overall, Mofo has really brought it just a bit more than Misfit has this game, and they lead 12-7 to show for it.
I think that's definitely right, Kevin. The score is reflective of what's going on there. It'll be interesting to see if Misfit has one more run in them, if they're going to make another push here. They're running out of space if they are. Time-wise, how are we doing for them? Do they have a bit of time to...
A bit of time, yeah. It's an 85-minute game with a hard cap at 85. We've been playing for just under an hour, so, it's been relatively clean. I think they've got time to finish this game, but if Misfit wants a run, they need to go after it because they don't have much point buffer here. Chan airs it out to an uncovered player, and he just can't drag it down.
It was a missed opportunity. No one on him.
Marcus Kwan.
Number 98, yeah. He's definitely wide open, had lots of real estate.
Abdullah picks it up. Little poach there from Kondo. Disc in the middle. Abdullah with the disc. Nice little lefty touch throw to Prescott. Prescott hits the undercutter. That's Crew. Crew, who maybe made the play of the game earlier, elevating for the goal, flips for a bail. Boris with the disc in the middle. Flips it to Abdullah. Abdullah to Murray. Murray looking for Boris. Nice little flip. Big bid. Nice protection of the disc. Back to Abdullah. Abdullah has really been a calming presence on this defensive handling group. He's going to flip it to Murray. Good pressure here by Misfit. Not allowing anything for free, and they get a post block for it. That's Fong with the disc. Flips it outside to Salisbury. Salisbury looks straight to the end zone. Decides not to. Goes back to the middle. Fong, number 12 with the disc. Fong lofts it around. Oh, an excellent read. Goes up early. Jason Lee gets it on the way down. A lovely play. Fong with the big outside in forehand, bending it in with the wind. And Lee, it's an excellent read. Climbs up early, grabs it on the way down. Let's see if that can be a momentum changer for Misfit here. Score now 12-8, Mofo.
That point was set up defensively in that Mofo wasn't able to really get it to their cutters downfield. The handlers had to move it back and forth a few times and didn't have any options that were working, whether the cutters were in the wrong position or the defense was too tight and clamping down. Whatever the combination was there, they weren't able to move it very well. And that led to that poach D after they were stifled for a while.
Absolutely, and credit to the Misfit defense for making Mofo throw tons of passes there. We had a little chance to briefly during that point to discuss number 10, Bassam Abdullah. He's been really steady on this defensive unit for Mofo. He's been sort of the center handler, the cog, if you will, moving the disc, getting it back. And one thing I notice and appreciate a lot about his game is he's not very risky. He's not trying anything outside his realm. He's just resetting the disc, moving it upfield steadily, slowly, and sometimes a calming force on your defensive line can really be favorable. He opens the field up for some of the more dynamic players that are hoping to do the big stuff. Someone like that can really reset the batteries and get things going, and I think the D-line has been super thankful to have him out there for this game.
And you always need that balance, your risk takers and your possession players.
And speaking of risk takers, here's Jung with the disc, and he goes all out. Blocked, though, right when we were saying it. Number 26, Paris with the block. Moves to the close side. Kabatohe. Little high release, and just behind his receiver, Lee. Snyder and Jung are going to go shot for shot. A lovely throw by Jung. Snyder coasted in for the one-handed grab. A little bit of flair there. And you know what? That just sort of sums the game up in one play there. Misfit with a nice play, really steady, but just a little miscue, and Mofo capitalizing on it, using their big guys. Jung straight to Snyder for the goal.
It's a great touch on the disc there from Jung. We've seen it a few times this game. I think he's one of the few players who actually throws with a bit of an air bounce on some of those low releases, really getting the disc to sit in certain spots so it's easy for the receiver when he's breaking the zone or when he just put it out on a platter for Snyder.
Absolutely, and early in the game, I think Jung set the tone by delivering like a 75-yard bomb for a goal. Definitely a thrower that has to be respected, and right there he just a little give go with Snyder. Snyder picked it up, flipped it, struck straight to the end zone, and Jung sat one out on a platter for him. Mofo now 2 points away from winning this game. It's 13-8. They lead Misfit. Mofo in blue, Misfit in white. This is some round 2 action here in the Junior Open Division at the Canadian Ultimate Championships. We're live all week long on sportscanada.tv, ultimatecanada.tv. You can check us out there. Links are all over our website. Check out Twitter as well. We'll be here in the booth today for this game is myself, Kevin Underhill, and I'm joined with Ultimate Canada's Executive Director, Danny Saunders. We're giving you this coverage here. Mofo pulling to Misfit. Looks like Mofo will keep this one in for once, and I think their defense is going to benefit from it because that disc is going to settle up right around the brick, and they already have the full coverage on. Danny, can we talk a bit more about the pull, or have we exhausted that topic?
We probably have, but that was a little different pull from Mofo there in terms of a big floating one. We haven't seen too many of those from Mofo. Went out. Oh, nice block there by number 5, Nicholas Einerson.
And sure enough, good pull inbounds. 2 passes later, Einerson with the block. Gillingham picks it up. Oh my goodness. Potentially the D of the game. That is an excellent bid. Right back. They're going to tap the disc right back in. Oh, player's getting a little excited. And there's tit for tat as number 12, Nicholas Fong, maybe taking exception to getting blocked by Einerson earlier in the point, goes full horizontal with the catch block. That is a nice play. A little bit of contact there. Both players seem all right. Einerson taps it back in. Fong with the disc. Hucks one right away to Lee. And what a throw! Woo! Fong with the layout block and steps up and delivers an absolute dart to Lee, racing to the end zone. And Misfit sticking around, maybe not making too much noise, but certainly not going down without a fight. Score now is 13-9 in favor of Mofo.
Maybe Fong should have got blocked earlier. If he's going to use that kind of motivation to turn it into his own block and then throw a huck like that, that was huge.
That was amazing.
That's always interesting to see from players how they respond to adversity, how they respond to a block or a throwaway, and whether it's something that they lose some focus and motivation, or if they try and use that as motivation to get better and get it back. And I think that was a clear demonstration of he really wanted that disc back, and he fought for it and got potentially, like you were saying, the D of the game there. He caught his D on a layout, undercutting his player to get there.
Absolutely, and as we've seen for a large portion of this game, Misfit showing a little bit of resilience, sticking around in this game, continuing to fight. But you know what they have to do here, Danny, is they have to turn one block into one break into 3 breaks. If they want to really challenge to get to 15 first here, they need to put more than just 1 point together. Misfit set to pull. John Carpenter with the disc. Mofo offensive receiving team. Snyder, Jung, Duncan. Some of the names that we've already talked about here. Definitely difference makers on that offensive unit. McDonald out there. Misfit. Nice pull upwind. Gonna sit.
Great pull.
Right in the middle. Flip to Jung. Seen that before. Duncan with the early cut. Snyder as well. And Jung just airs it out to Duncan. Pierce Busser underneath him. Oh, and Duncan elevates for the goal. Flips it over to Josh Nawasad, and that is a beautiful play. Ethan Duncan using his size, elevating above Pierce Busser and making the grab. That's a tough defensive assignment. We saw one earlier, and Duncan not showing much signs of jet lag as he struck deep. Jung sat one up there. Jung's been hitting his target all game long, and Duncan brought it in, flipped to Nawasad for the goal. And, again, just another play that sort of sums it up is good defensive pressure downfield, a little bit later count. Jung steps around, blasts a backhand, connects. And, if big plays win games, Mofo's been putting up big plays all game long.
That throw is a great throw, recognizing his receiver and the matchup he had there. Duncan, he's got a great read and his big body, long-limbed. He's about a head taller than most of the other players out there. Jung put enough angle and height on that throw that he made it so that his receiver could decide where he was going to take it and attack it and use those advantages he had around height and length.
Absolutely, and Duncan's been reading the disc pretty well all game. He's been a deadly force, and it's one of those players that you have to respect deep, right? But he's shown it on the other side as well, as when he's been getting back too aggressively, he pops under for good yards, and he can throw. He had an earlier shot where he fired an inside-out shot to Jung, where they switch places a little bit, and that's something that Mofo will be looking to lean on for the rest of the game when they play against stronger opponents, is they have some dynamic players that can go both directions, and that's pretty important.
Well, that brings us now here to game point.
14-9, Mofo leads. Rips a pull down. Looks like this one's going to land in. That's good. Taken by one hand there by Anster there. Salisbury, rather, has the disc on the far side. No mark yet.
Rafalov was poaching there, trying to shut down the cuts further downfield.
Chan with this now. Chan flips to Salisbury. Salisbury goes up line to Chang. Chang with the disc. Chan striking deep. Doesn't like it. Wants Quan. Doesn't get it. Maybe bumped a little on the mark there. No call, though. Hits Chan under. Chan looks around. Doesn't like the backhand look. Salisbury. Beautiful inside shot there by Chan. And that's number 23, Nicholas Chang there, aggressively faking, lost his footing, slid out a little bit. Hopefully he's all right, and that's just a little tweak. Coach Braden G going to pop out and take a look at him here. Definitely when you see a player go down, you don't want to see them down for very long. That one, to me, looked like he just lost his footing on the fake, slid it out, might have tweaked his ankle a little bit. Hopefully it's not a sprain or anything. He seems to be putting weight on it already, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Chang back out there. Already jogging under his own power. Should be good. Number 24, Stephen Nguyen coming in to replace him. Danny, what's the ruling on that? If he has no contact with any other player and he goes down, does he have to sub?
He does need to sub if there's no contact with the opposing team, and here he is subbing. It's also a good idea at this point just to make sure he's okay and have someone take a look at it.
Absolutely, and he's getting checked out right in front of us. Pretty responsive. Already took a couple hops around. I think he's going to be all right. Might just have been a little tweak. Back in the game, Nguyen has it. Ooh. Around to Fong. Fong bends one in. Just out of reach for Quan.
been a nice game so far watching. There haven't been a lot of calls or a lot of questionable plays, and it seems as though the players have been able to really follow the spirit of the game and resolve things amongst themselves and come to resolutions.
Absolutely, and it hasn't been a very call-heavy game at all. Raffleb goes up line. Good pressure. Raffleb with the disc. Uncorks a forehand, looking for Guri. Just can't quite track it down. Nice effort. That's a nice rip by Raffleb. I think the decision-making's good there. He had a good well-timed strike. He just put a little too much oomph on it. Nguyen's going to pick it up.
See what Misfit does this time. Last time they had a couple of good slash cuts going across that seemed to get their cutters open, but then they got stuck on the sideline. They did have a nice forehand break that got to the middle, but we'll see what they try this time.
They just air it out right away to their Salisbury receiver. Raffleb coming underneath him. Salisbury climbs up, can't get it. And a good second effort block there by number 34, Sean Bennett, making sure that's down. Again, that's just showing that 3 Mofo players were underneath that and just showing their hunger to make this game a game over here. Hildebrand with the disc. Flips it to Wilson. Wilson bends one around, just can't quite flip it in. Here's that fast transition. Quan to Kondo, and there it is again. The transition offense by Misfit looking good, and they bring this to 14-10. As much as we can talk about the Mofo strength in their program, Misfit is just not going away, refused to go down quietly. This has been a trading second half. I believe they've got the break. Misfit leads in this second half, but Mofo just was out to such a huge lead to start that it might be too little too late.
The Misfit O-line definitely has picked it up in this half. They've been much better at being able to hold their serve. Mofo's, generally, their O-line's been doing the same, but as you said, the Misfit program is up that break for this half, but when you dig yourself a big hole in the first, it makes it really hard in the second.
Absolutely, and it's just a tough mountain to climb, but, commendable sticking with it. I've seen, too many games where a solid squad goes down big and just folds. But Misfit has shown some really good resilience that they can lean on for the rest of the tournament here, as they went down pretty big but kept going, fighting back, chipping away. And now we have ourselves a 14-10 game. Mofo leads. I wouldn't be surprised to see them just boost one up to Duncan here. Chang has been firing pretty hot. He might just fire a heat check out to see if he's still got it. But here he is, commanding his team there, deciding what the play is going to be. Snyder, Duncan, Chang, McDonald. Here's the pull. Floats down. Collected to Chang. Good coverage by Misfit. Chang's there. Looks deep. Bends around. A nice under to Snyder. Snyder has a wide open number 88. Jarrett Ham. Duncan too. Oh, and a great defensive play by Ham.
Second effort.
Pulls it out with an amazing second effort. And that is just the game in a nutshell there by a nice defensive pressure by Misfit. Duncan and Ham in the vicinity, and Ham leaping, diving for the catch, and ices the game. Mofo takes it 15-10. Another thrilling match on Field 14 here at the Iverdent Sports Park. Danny, what did we just witness in that last point?
I'm not sure. I'm surprised that Duncan didn't take that disc. I think he had it, but he just left it there for his teammate, Jarrett Ham. And a huge second effort, and I think you've seen that all game from Mofo, is they don't give up. So if it's a deflection, they miss the first one, they're still going after the disc, they're still hungry.
As the teams shake hands, we have a chance to just decompress a little bit after that exciting matchup. I think the story of the game is that early lead by Mofo, accelerating out of the gate, jumping out to the early lead, taking half 8-4, and despite actually falling to Misfit in the second half, it was just easily enough to coast to a win. Sometimes it's nice to get these early round victories, and that's a 4 versus 5 matchup, and that's a crucial win for Mofo.
I think Mofo at the end there, they were able to claw back and score one more point than Misfit in the second half, and it's a lot easier when you have that lead from the first half to sit back and your O-line can relax a little and play loose and know that you have that there. Well, it's great to see another We're laughing here seeing number 13, Ethan Duncan, just hold his hand as high as he can to see how many players on Misfit can jump up and give him a high five. I think most of them got there. That's pretty impressive.
And we saw there was some question earlier in the game, or earlier in the tournament, if the Team Canada players from Mofo were going to dress for today. Obviously, it's totally understandable. They just got back from Poland, where they were competing in the World Juniors Championships, and but the question was answered right away as Duncan, Snyder, Raflab made an impact immediately in this game. And I'm pretty impressed with Mofo. I mean, I think they have what it takes to go deep in this tournament, absolutely. Misfit showing strong resilience, staying in the game, fighting back in that second half, but just a little too late, too late as the game wrapped up 15-10. Mofo takes the game over Misfit in this round 2 action from the Canadian Ultimate Championships, live from the Ivor Dent Sports Park here in Edmonton, Alberta. We're going to sign off here, but Danny Saunders in the booth with Kevin Underhill, thanks a lot for tuning in for this game, and we'll be back later on for a big junior women's matchup in the last round of the day. Thanks a lot, and see you guys soon.